But here is the Yom Yom for today, words of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Every person must know that God, through his individual providence, it's called Hashgacha Pratit, that God, through his individual providence, in other words, God individually cares about every single person and every single incident in the world, and God is the direction and the director of every occurrence in the world. So God directs everything in a way that every person has the ability to bring God's will from concealed to be revealed, from potential to actual. This is done through fulfilling the commandments and strengthening Judaism and our holy Torah at all times and every place. Maybe the best example of this is King David. King David was a king. He was a very holy person, King David. And he, of course, was learning. It says the Talmud tells us he learned Torah all the time. And of course, he did the commandments. He was the head of the Jewish people. But God put him in all these really strange situations where he had these weird enemies, powerful, tremendously powerful enemies, that most of which were Jews, religious Jews. And they really knew how to make trouble for him. And King David, even from his own family. So God put King David in all these unusual situations of war and treachery and difficulties and successes. And nevertheless, wherever King David was, that's the whole book of Psalms. He was praising God. He was thinking about God. He was pleading with God. He was asking God. He was describing God. And he was praising God in all these really different, amazing, complicated, intimate, and personal ways, and praising the Creator in as far as history goes, as far as the future goes, as far as the past goes, as far as the present goes. So everything he was always done. So this is an example of how God arranges things in the world to occur which challenge us, which stimulate us, which arouse us, which force us to deepen ourselves into the true meaning of life, why we're here, to serve God. This is done by fulfilling the commandments and strengthening Judaism and our holy Torah at all times in every place, like King David. Everything depends on our service of God. It's like the saying, a Chassid makes his environment. If you're in a terrible environment, a place where you can't learn Torah, well, that's your job, is to try to fix the place up as much as possible. If through no other way than through prayer. If you don't see that anything else works, well, you always have a connection to the Creator of the universe to pray that things will get better. And sometimes that's the reason why you're there, only for that reason. Okay, now let us do, that was today. Let's do tomorrow. Shabbat. Several of the earlier Chassidim, they had a forbringen, sometimes around 1784, 1787. This is like the time of the first Rebbe of Chabad. And the discussion was that the first Rebbe of Chabad in general, listen, before Chabad started, there was the Baal Shem Tov. He started the whole Hasidic movement, talking about, like we said, the oneness of God and how we should love God and love our fellow man and see only good in others. That was in general. The Baal Shem Tov had a pupil. His name was the Maggid of Mezrich. Around the Maggid of Mezrich gathered tens of huge, amazingly holy, genius rabbis. One of them, the youngest of them, was the first Rebbe of Chabad, and he was the first Rebbe. He was the Rebbe that started Chabad. That was the first Rebbe. He wrote the book, the Tanya. He said when he did this, he accomplished something very novel, very new. that we are not alone. It used to be in Judaism that the master, the head, the Talmudic sage was alone, and the pupils were alone. Hasidic way, started by the Rebbe, is a tremendous divine achievement that the Rebbe is worried and concerned every moment with the Hasidim, and the Hasidim always feel this, that they are not alone, that the Rebbe is always with them at all time. Like we had Moses and the Jewish people. The Jewish people rebelled against Moses, and Moses prayed for the Jewish people because they were always separate. Moses was a totally different level than everybody else, and he remained that way. He remained that way. But with the Rebbe, it wasn't that way. The Rebbe is like Moses. He's a totally different level than everybody else. But he added something that, so to speak, that Moses didn't do, and that he was intimately involved in every single one of the Hasidim constantly. The Rebbe is not alone, and his Hasidim are not alone. Okay, let us now go to a story.